inside. Elsie, what are you doing here?
Can you come in?
Yeah, come on. What's all this, then?
Oh, Len. It was terrible. It was terrible.
What's the matter? You're trembling like a leaf. What's up with you?
It just seemed to collapse and never went all over the place and he stopped breathing. What shall I do?
Sit down.
I don't want to sit down.
Sit down. That's the first thing you're going to do. Second thing you're going to do is keep your voice down. Otherwise, we'll have Jerry Booth down here wondering what all the row's about. And thirdly, get that down.
I don't want to
Get
drink.
it down, get it down. Now, come on, love, slowly. Tell me what it's all about.
I told you.
No. Take it gently from the beginning. Now, come on, tell me what it's all about.
Well, I went out to that place for a drink that Annie and Jack told us about.
To the Fox and Hound, yeah, go on.
And I met this fella, Bob Maxwell.
Yeah, go on.
Well, we just chatted for a bit and had a drink, and then I was going to go, and he offered me a lift home.
All right.
No, it's not what you think. It was just a lift home. Only we never got home. We crashed the car.
Oh, God.
We were just driving along, and all of a sudden he gave a little moan, and it seemed to collapse over the wheel. I couldn't do anything. The car went all over the place, and we crashed, and now he's dead.
He's what?
He's dead.
No.
Yes.
You sure?
Oh, he's dead, all right. I kept wishing it was all a bad dream, and I'd wake up and find myself at home in my own bed. But I wasn't.
What did the police say?
I never told them.
You what?
I just got up and ran away.
You just got up and left it?
Yeah.
Well, you're a right bloody fool, aren't you?
He's a married man.
Of course he was. They all was that.
Len, listen, what else could I do? He had about 2 minutes to make up my mind what to do. I couldn't bring him back to life, but at least I could save his wife and family from any suffering.
What do you mean?
Look, supposing I had gone to the police, what do you think they'd have said? Me, a divorced woman and him a married man. What do you think they'd have thought? I'll tell you what they'd have thought. What you're thinking now, the worst.
Maybe you're right, dear.
And if I'm right,
But you just went away and left him, just like that.
what else could I do? I managed to get to the main road, and I got on an all-night bus.
Elsie, look, are you all right? You're not hurt, are you?
I'm all right. I just banged my head of it and bruised my shoulder when the car crashed. I'm okay. Len, do you think they'll find him?
Bound to eventually.
Seems so rotten leaving him there. All alone like that. Funny. A few hours ago I was laughing and talking and now he's dead.
Elsie, darling, don't think about it. Don't worry. Come on.
Where?
I'm taking you home. A good night's kip will do you the world of good. It's 3:45. Got me for the right mug, haven't you?
What's the matter?
It's just his wife you want to protect, is that it?
Oh, Len, please, I've had enough for one day.
And so have I.
What's the matter?
I'll tell you what's the matter. What time did you leave that pub where that fella picked you up?
He didn't pick me up.
What time did you leave?
About 11.
It says in this paper here that he died at 1:30.
Well, what about it?
What about it? It doesn't take 2.5 hours to get from the Fox and Hounds to Jackson's Lane. It's only 3 miles. What did you do, push the flaming car all the way? Is that why you had an heart attack?
Now, listen,
I've listened enough to you. As far as I'm concerned, from now on, you've had it. You can find another shoulder to cry on.
Oh, don't start again, Len, please.
I went round to the Fox and Hounds.
What for?
Just to see if anyone had noticed you when you went in there last night.
Oh, I never thought of that. And did they?
The police have been.
So they know them.
No, that barmaid couldn't give much of a lead.
Why, I was in there long enough.
Yeah, but she reckons they get a lot of gash birds in at night.
Picking up fellas.
I didn't say that.
Well, I'm saying it for you, Hunter.
Anyway, you didn't register with that barmaid.
Strange, that, isn't it?
No, it's not very strange. She said you all look alike to her. You were lucky you picked the right pub.
Lucky?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think you're in the clear now.
What about this morning?
What about it?
You worked me, saying them things about him and me.
They still stand.
Well, what have you come round for?
Because you helped me once.
Oh, I see. Returning the favour, making your conscience happy, is it?
If you like.
Did help you, didn't I? Dave Smith. Perjured myself over that.
Yeah.
Len, about last night...
I don't want to know.
There's nothing to know.
Isn't there?
No, look, I told you. We just sat there and talked. We smoked a couple of fags and we talked. He was a nice bloke. He was different. I don't know. We had something in common somehow.
Oh, why?
Oh, not like that. Look, he had a car, a nice house, and a family. It was just that he seemed lonely.
Oh, yeah, that's a very good line, that one.
Then try and understand. Maybe lonely is not the right word. Frightened, perhaps.
What of?
Oh, lots of things. Age, maybe. Uncertainty, you know.
And that's all you had in common?
Yes, yes. I know it sounds daft now, but that's how it was last night.
Oh,
Oh, I've had enough of this.
What are you doing?
Well, I should have gone in the first place. I'm going to the police.
Oh, you echoes like that won't help anybody.
It'll help me. I'm sick to death of people knocking on the door, not knowing who it is, and you and your rotten insinuations.
All right, then. Supposing I believe you. I'm not saying I do, but what are they going to think?
Whatever they like.
And they will. There'll be an inquest, you know. It's bound to come out. In between the lines is going to make belting reading.
Look, Ian, we just talk.
Can't you understand? You haven't got a cat in hell's chance of proving that. Hilda Ogden.
Why should she tell you? Then are you sure she doesn't know anything?
Of course she doesn't know anything. You know what a blabbermouth she is. She just blurted it out. The police have been on to Mr. and Mrs. Walker, then going around with a face like a funeral looking for Mrs. Walker. She'll dine out on this, you know, for the next 24 hours, she will.
Too much of a coincidence.
What do you mean a coincidence?
Well, if you must know, I told that barmaid at the Fox and Hounds Ernie Walker recommended it.
Oh, I thought you might. Why didn't you tell me?
Because I forgot.
It's all right, so you told her. How many people does she talk to overnight? How many people does Irma Ogden talk to overnight? Now, forget it. It's just a routine check.
If you think it's a routine check, why did you bother coming out here and telling me the police were around?
I'm beginning to regret I ever did. Look, you can forget about the whole thing. You can take my word for that.
Yeah, I've taken your word for things before.
What's that supposed to
Oh,
be?
shut up, lad, and let me think.
You mind saying that again?
Shut up, will you?
Elsie, where was he sitting when you left him?
What do you mean, where was he sitting?
On the front seat or the back?
He was... You louse. You filthy little louse.
Oh, we're beginning to learn things now, aren't we? Go on.
How dare you say such a thing to me?
I know I'm just the errand boy, but come on, let's have a ball, shall we?
Stupid, Len.
Stupid? That's exactly what I am, isn't it? Stupid, running around like with a scalded cock I was after you. Doing everything for you, all the big favours. Who the hell do you think you are, Elsie Tanner?
Let me go.
Some shining fairy on a Christmas tree. Just have a look.
Let me go.
Have a ruddy good look.
Let me go, you're hurting me.
Look at that in there. Have a good look. You call me a louse? What the hell do you think you are? You're nothing. You're just nothing.
I don't need you to tell me what I am, Len Ferkel.
I know, because if I did, you'd stick your head in a gas oven.
Maybe I do kid myself. Maybe I kid myself because I don't want to stick my head in the gas oven.
You can't say two honest words together. You can't look me in the eye and say two honest words together. Because you're nothing. You feel nothing. You just paint
and mush, Elsie Tanner.
Well, go on, call it me again. I'm a louse, am I? Well, I don't kid myself, you know. But I could crawl through a sewer when I think that I asked you to marry me once.
You bringing up my kid? Oh, that's great, that is.
You don't need to tell me what you think of me, because if you remember, you turned me down.
There were reasons.
Yeah, I know what the reasons were and all. And every time you go out touting for a big blonde sailor or a fella in a pinstripe suit, you turn the knife in my back.
So now we know.
Yeah. Yeah, now we know.
I have to go to someone. Len, you were the only one I could tell. I don't even know how I'm going to tell our Dennis yet.
You're not worried about shocking him after all these years, the way you've dragged him up, have you?
You've said enough, Len.
All right, throw me out then.
If you feel like that, why don't you go?
Because I fancy you.
Oh, charming. After all that.
I don't kid myself, you know.
Oh, there you are. I've been looking all over.
Would you mind telling me where you've been, Mrs. Ogden?
I've been looking for you.
Well, in future, I'd be obliged if you'd lock the door. I do carry a key, you know. I got the shock of my life when I came in just now and found the place open, nobody else here. We are licensees, you know.
Yeah, well, I'll remember next time.
I should hope so indeed. I expect rather more from you, Mrs. Ogden.
Well, I'm very sorry, but it was an emergency. The police rang up.
I don't care who or what. The police, you say?
Yeah. Well, they asked for Mr. Walker, but I told him he wouldn't be back from his bowling till about 8-ish. So then they asked for you and you wasn't here. But I told them you'd be back any minute, so I expect they'll ring again soon.
I see.
They wouldn't say what they wanted.
I sincerely hope you didn't ask.
Oh, no. No, they just said they wanted to come round and see you when I asked. Well, I mean, I had to ask if it was urgent.
Yes, well, I'd be obliged if you'd shut the door after you in future. And you can go now, Mrs. Ogden.
Oh, you sure you wouldn't like me to hang on here for a bit?
Quite sure, thank you.
I will if you like.
Why, for heaven's sake?
Well, if the police is coming round.
My dear, the police are always coming round. We are licensees, you know. We are the first people they turn to for help in certain matters. I often think that we occupy the same place as the Manor House did in earlier days.
Oh, well, if you're sure. Oh, I didn't quite finish the snug while we're going out.
It is too late for that now.
I wonder what they want. Well, I mean, I don't like to think of you on your own if it's troubled, you see.
I can assure you that I am not anticipating any trouble. Not by any means. I am quite sure that I shall know all about it quite soon now.
Yeah. Yeah, I expect you will.
Yes, indeed. Goodbye, Mrs. Ogden.
Oh. Well, bye, Mrs. Walker.
Oh, come in, Sergeant. 'Tis Sergeant Selman, isn't it?
That's right, Mrs. Walker. We've met before a few times. Oh, this is Detective Constable Lucas.
Oh, would you like to go through to the living room?
Oh, I don't think we need bother you to that extent. I know it's getting near opening time.
Oh, how very considerate of you, Sergeant. As a matter of fact, I was hoping it wouldn't take long. Could I offer you anything?
Oh, no. Thanks very much all the same. We've just come from the Fox and Arms.
Oh, yes?
That doesn't strike a note?
No, not particularly. It depends which fox and hounds, wouldn't it? There are quite a number of them.
Yes. Well, we're investigating the death of a Mr. Robert Maxwell. You may have seen it in the papers. A road accident at the other side of town.
No, I can't say that I have.
I see. Well, this gentleman visited the Fox and Arms on the evening of his death. In fact, as far as we can establish, it was the last place he was seen. Now, I understand you visited the Fox and Arms the other evening with your husband.
That would be the 24th.
Oh, that fox and hounds. How silly of me. I was thinking locally. Yes, indeed, we did go there. But fancy them remembering us. And you know, we had a really first-class meal. I said to Mr. Walker afterwards, it's the kind of place that you could confidently recommend to anyone.
And did you, Mrs. Walker?
I beg your pardon?
Did you, in fact, recommend it to someone?
Oh, well, I may have mentioned it to someone in the course of conversation at the bar, yes, or someone may have asked my advice. They frequently do.
You can't remember any particular person?
Male or female officer?
We're looking for a woman, Mrs. Walker. She left the Fox and Arms the same evening with the deceased. We found a pair of ladies' gloves in the car, and since they don't belong to the wife, it's natural for us to assume that this woman may have been with him in the car at the time of the accident.
I see.
I think Mrs. Walker may be wondering how we come to connect this woman with her.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I am.
Well, the fact is, Mrs. Walker, she specifically mentioned to the barmaid that the place had been recommended to her by you.
That's all I needed.
Here we are again, 5 calls, 5 orders. How's that for a loving son? I've got it, you know. It's all up here. You're not talking to rubbish when you're talking to... Well, why don't you finish the rest off while you're at it? Then we're going to have cardboard in every other one. It'll be just like old times, won't it?
Say another word, Annie. Stop saying another word.
What's better all that?
Don't touch me. I could have done a lot worse for you, you know. I could have cleared off and left you like other mothers do. You'd have managed no matter what they said. Why shouldn't I have a bit of pleasure out of what's left of it all?
What's up, ma'am?
I'm in trouble again, as if you didn't know.
The fella?
Don't dare say it, Dennis. Don't you dare.
Well, I only has.
I know it's difficult, Mrs. Walker, a neighbourhood like this, a big tradition for sticking together and all that nonsense. You have your trade to think of, I understand that. But we shall have to follow it through. A list of your customers, ones you might have said something to, a lot of trouble for everybody. But make no mistake about it, we shall find her in the end, you know. So, if you could just remember a likely one, it'll be a big saving all round, won't it?
I'll get Len Fairclough round to fix this. It's blooming cold in here.
Get somebody else to do it.
Oh, you've not had a Barney with him, have you?
I just said, couldn't we get somebody else to do it?
I'll go, don't worry, man. You'd better go straight through.
Mrs. Tanner?
Now, don't say anything,
Now
Mother.
then, son, let's not jump to conclusions, shall we?
Brought your gloves back, Mrs. Tanner. They are yours.
Yes.
You were in the car when the accident happened?
Yes.
Now, she's not had anything. You can't do anything to her.
I didn't say she had some. You all right, Mrs. Tanner? No injuries?
No injuries worth mentioning.
You shouldn't have just cleared off like that, you know. You knew he was dead, of course.
Yes.
You're a bit scared, eh? Ah, it must have been a shock for you.
He was married, wasn't he?
He was, yes.
Married. Dead. A wife waiting at home. I do care what people think, you know.
Yes, I'm sure you do.
I know exactly what she'd be thinking. Just what you're thinking now.
Now, that's hardly fair.
It's true, though. There was no... Ah, well. It doesn't matter now. I did try.
You'll have to attend the inquest, I'm afraid.
You'll find all the details on there.
What good would that do?
I'm afraid it's the law, Mrs. Tanner. It's not much more than a formality. We've a pretty good idea what happened.
She'll hate me for the rest of her life. No matter what I say. There was naught between me and that fella, you know. If he hadn't have died, he would have gone straight home. It was that sort.
In that case, maybe she'll understand.
Understand, mister, you know a bit about the law, but you know naught about women. I understand you were around in the Rovers just now.
Aye, we've been making a few general inquiries in the area. Sorry about all this, but, well, you'll be glad to have it all cleared up.
Cleared up? Cleared up for who? For you, maybe, but you got pretty long memories around the street.
I see you've got a visitor, Mrs. Tanner.
Oh, Stan said he had some glass breaking. Is everything all right?
Here we are, one bacon butty with bags of dripping and rattled a rind for you.
Get your reward in heaven.
Oh, I'm a natural when it comes to butties.
I hope your mother isn't going to make a habit of this, you know. I'd like to be prepared.
Oh, no, she's dead quiet. She's dead that much about Annie Walker shopping her, and that's making history.
The old bag.
Oh, that's no way to talk about your mother.
I mean, any walker you creative, you rotten old muck middin. Somebody ought to put strychnine in her flaming asparagus tips. I'm worried about me mum.
She'll survive, mate. She's come through worse than this, you know.
Yeah, but it's not over yet, is it? I mean, the clacking has to start. Not that she can't do some clacking once she gets going.
Oh, I know. She's got a voice like a blinking cutthroat razor when she starts, and she hasn't grown up. But I think you might have come out of the rhubarb patch a bit worse off, you know.
You aren't trying to sell me something?
You and me both, mate. You and me.
Oh.
What's he doing here?
I fetched him for window.
I thought I said I was to get somebody else.
Now, what's the point, ma'am? He'll very likely is not charge out.
Oh, yes, he will. I want him paying in cash.
He's rubbed you up the wrong way, hasn't he?
I said I want him paying in cash.
He said some very nice things about you just now.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Oh, yes, he did, honest. About you being a loving mother and not being appreciated and all that jazz.
You don't say.
He thinks a lot of you, Len Fairclough.
Look, Dennis, if you've got anything to sell, get it sold, will you?
Just passing the time of day with a bit of idle chatter. Do we have to pay cash?
Yes, we do.
Well, he's coming in, so I'll just be upstairs for a minute.
No, you can stay
I'll
until
be
he goes,
back in a jiffy, that's all right.
Yeah, madam, that should be satisfactory.
Thank you. How much do I owe you?
How much?
Yes, I'd like to get it settled now.
To you, 7 and 6.
I'm sorry he bothered you. I did ask him to get somebody else.
Why get somebody else? I'm cheap. I'm available. I might not be very good, but I do a good job.
Then don't start that again, please.
Come off it, Elsie.
You hurt my feelings.
Darling, let's go down to Rovers. I'll buy you a drink and we'll forget about the whole thing, eh?
No, thanks.
Right.
Len. It isn't that I don't want to go. It's just that... You know what they'll all be yakking about in there.
Yeah. I'll have one for you, shall I?
Yeah.
Think you'll find that right, Mr. Sutlock?
All right, thank you. See, Elsie Tannen's been at it again.
You know, I'm well aware that I'm a very different sort of personality. But do you know, Mr. Tatlock, my heart bleeds for that woman.
What?
No, it really does. She seems to go from one misfortune to another.
Yeah, well, it's her own doing.
Possibly. But I mean, a woman like that in the prime of her life, with no husband, 2 grown-up children. Something rather tragic about it, don't you think?
Oh, I don't know so much about that. We can all let ourselves go, you know.
What do you want to start yakking about it in here for?
Well, it wasn't me who started it.
Oh, give over, will you? She'll be after you, you know. You might be putting your shovel in where there's no muck.
Oh, no, I'm not having that. I've said that I wouldn't bear witness to.
Well, I'm ashamed of you.
Oh, Stan, what a thing to say.
I am. I'm ashamed of you. How many fellas have you sat with in lay-bys?
I've never done no such thing.
That's what I mean. It's a bad case of sour grapes, if you ask me out.
Oh, Stan Ogden.
Mr. Fairclough, Len,
Mrs. Walker, Annie.
will you see Mrs. Tanner?
I suppose so.
Will you give her that with my compliments?
With pleasure.
Mrs. Walker,
Hello, Dennis, love.
you ought to be blooming well ashamed of yourself.
I beg your pardon.
Oh, beg my pardon, do. We know very well who sent the police round to our house, so you can lie till you're blue in the face, but we know.
I've no intention of lying. Do you realise the situation I was in?
I know what situation my mum's in right now. I've never seen her look as bad as she does now, and it were all out of kindness of her heart.
That may be so,
If I were
Dennis.
in charge of things, Mrs. Walker, I'd have women like you out of harm's way, and I'm not kidding neither.
How dare you come in here and talk to me like that? You wouldn't dare to do it if Mr. Walker were here.
I'd talk to you like that if 10 Mr. Walkers were here.
Yes, mate, relax.
She's a menace to flipping society, that's what she is.